Hi, and welcome back to Nadya's Identity Files. I have with me the very beautiful and fabulous and so talented Julia Faye West. Julia, thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. So I'm really excited to have you here to talk about identity and the complexity of your identities. Are you excited?
Oh, yeah. I have so many identities that I could just go on and on about.
I mean, especially even just like your professional identities. I mean, obviously that just skims the surface, but behind your being a producer, an actress, a model, an activist, right? Activist for human rights.
Multitasking madwoman.
A
Yes.
mom,
Let's go
an
on.
artist. I mean, do you feel like, how do you wear all these hats?
I can only chalk it up to passion. I have to have passion behind what I do, and I'm fortunate enough to have the willingness to work as hard as long as it takes, as many hours, run myself into the ground to just, reach for the stars. Even if you land in the moon, you're on the moon. There's like you're on the moon, reach for the. I also say reach for the stars, but cover your
ass.
star.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. So, I mean, obviously those are hats. I mean, they are identities. Mm-hmm. Do you feel in alignment with one of those more than another? I mean, is there one that you feel closest to?
There's a very deep core side of me that's spiritual, and I trust destiny, identity. I feel that there's a grand design, a divine design to everything. Whether you believe in whatever religion you believe in, even if you don't believe there's a higher power, it's kind of scientifically proven that there is, and it's almost ignorant for us to think that we're the
end all be all, right?
I think all animals probably think that they own us. Our pets, we belong to them,
do.
and yeah. So my core self is a little bit of a sorceress, hippie / prayer. I think that I really believe that I've studied so much of various religions. My parents were flower children. My dad grew up very Christian. My mom grew up Catholic. That he was a farm boy. She was a city girl. They came together and liked to explore mind dynamics, which they were in back then. The equivalent of what now would be maybe the Landmark Forum or motivational programs that are all about changing your thinking, The Secret, The Power of Now.
So kind of like being very in tune with your consciousness. And letting your intuition guide you, which is really important. And it seems to me that, in looking at your career trajectory, that you've really allowed yourself to kind of roll with the punches and trust your intuition.
Exactly. I always say one of the best survival skills is adaptability. And I always say all in the flow when I'm texting and family flux and, chaos and living in the city, especially Los Angeles.
Yeah.
A lot of things, musical chairs, and that overstimulation. We have to explore ourselves and know ourselves from, I love the way you coined it, the socio-political angle, marketing angle, and then who are we aside from that? And there's a huge difference between who I am when I'm playing a role or a character than who I am
outside of that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of roles and playing characters, I mean, we're talking a lot today, really focusing on what it means to be a social media influencer. When you're on your platforms and you have a big following, you have like 120K plus on Instagram, I think something like 89K followers on Twitter. Do you feel like you're playing into maybe the expectations of your following to some degree, or are you just being yourself?
To some degree, I am. Absolutely. I think all of us are. And I just finished a movie. We had a grand premiere. It was one of our dear friends, Jessica, was there, and it was It was right here in Hollywood, the Cinerama Dome Theater, old classic.
I can't wait to see it.
I'm excited to share with everybody. It turned out to be an inherently great film. However, my character in the film was a grand parody of a conglomerate of our crowned royals that are it girls famous just for being famous. And it's making a fun of American consumerism. To
Tell
a
us
degree.
what the title of the movie is.
It's A Week in London. When you look me up, you'll see they've already put That's What I'm Known For, because I was on I was in every scene. Denise Richards was my co-star. Mike Tyson makes a tongue-in-cheek appearance. John Witherspoon from Friday.
That's so cool.
He was hilarious. And I've also found that that's my niche now, is comedy, because I can self-deprecate and enjoy it and laugh at myself.
Right, that's important. I mean, it's really important that we don't take ourselves too seriously. I mean, I know I'm so guilty. I mean, it's not that I take myself so seriously. I guess that's kind of framing it incorrectly, but more I'm very perfectionistic and veer into the control freak type.
I can go there as well. I can go into because I am also a location rep, a producer. I have many other miscellaneous crew titles. I am into animal rescue. I have 7 dogs at this time. I have a son who keeps me very active and keeps me in dirty clothes, and I love it. Actually, honestly, I love just wearing jeans and a t-shirt and no glam makeup and just my hair in a ponytail.
But you're really working the glam really well today. You said
Thank you.
earlier that you're paying homage to the 1940s era of glamour.
Yes, and also as I was coming of age and working in Hollywood, I had the opportunity to have AMC pluck me out of the crowd when I was first getting my, into SAG-AFTRA, and dress me as a young Carol Lombard, which is...
Love it.
People know her. If you don't know her, she's Clark Gable's wife, and she was an actress. So they made me so 1940s. And then, of course, that rockabilly style.
Yeah, it's like a hybrid.
They kind of pulled me in to their group because I was just so young and just discovering Hollywood. But for a long time, I was so mesmerized by the character. I studied that time period in history. I love now, even I'm always learning. If I have a question, I will Google it. So I'm consistently researching. And while we were filming, before I forget, I do want to say, my experience with my acting coach was incredible. Separating myself from the character, what the character likes versus what I like. And then
it's easy to have that, one bleed into another.
Absolutely, yeah. And I feel like I've studied and explored so many aspects of different identities and beliefs, and a lot with my mom I grew up with a motivational speaker and published internationally. My mom, an author for motivational speaking, and I was up on stage with her when I was 10, 11. I grew up, sometimes my parents called me a guinea pig for positive thinking, and so I do feel like there's an extent where, being a realist, yet also not bordering on pessimism, but more the opposite. Just knowing that there are constantly opportunities and challenging oneself to reach the next level.
To reach out the next level. That's beautiful.
Their identity that
obviously, you're very much in line with your authenticity and your authentic self, and you allow yourself room to breathe through different identities in your work as an actress, but also in your own personal life. And I think that being aware of that intersection as you are, and aware of your influence. I mean, do you consider yourself, before we move on to our next segment, my last question to you is, do you feel like there's a big intersection between being a social media influencer and a celebrity? Do you feel like it's one and the same thing?
At this point, with the millennials especially, and the explosion of it online, and I think that we're moving in a direction where social media, online, everything, it may become more, it may become bigger.
Yeah.
People are much more interested in what people have to say on YouTube. Some of our greatest stars were found there. And I think that the amount of people that you can reach, whether it's online or in any other aspect, it's
There was a random there was a random pigeon being knocked. Is that a pigeon or a parakeet? Being knocked
it was
against
an
the
African
window?
gray.
Okay. On that note,
He knocked his
that was like really threw things
you know,
off.
and you know what? I'll say there are signs everywhere. Sometimes there's no
Yes.
coincidences, but then sometimes I say there are. You can look at anything. What is that meaning to you?
Right.
And you'll find your signs
Find
that
that
you need.
signs,
It
yeah.
actually means something about it. Reflects on your thoughts and yourself.
It can be deeply personal. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really important to be constantly aware of your surroundings and your environment, including when you're in the online space or when you're in real life or just wherever you go. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Julia. We'll be right back for just kind of a brief throw out to everybody out watching about what you can do to stand out and be authentic and build your reach as a
And
potential
begin to know
influencer.
yourself.
And begin to know yourself.
You're a mosaic of all your experiences.